Hello everyone, myself Bushra Fatma, Assistant Professor, School of Architecture at Calcutta's University. Today we will start our new topic in project management, that is cost management, which comes under your healthcare module. So, the objectives of this lecture is to understand, study the project management, that is what is project management and all, and to understand the cost management and what are the process of cost management which comes under the project management. So, these are the objectives which we cover in this lecture. So, first of all, we discuss what is project management. Project management is the process of leading the work of a team to achieve goals and meet success criteria at a specified time. The primary challenge of project management is to achieve all the project goals within the given constraints. The primary constraints are scope, time, quality, and all. In this, budget is also included. The secondary challenges is to optimize the allocation of necessary inputs and apply them to meet predefined objectives. The objectives of project management is to produce the complete project which complies with the client's objective within a proper budget or proper time. Now, the cost management. Project cost management is a method that uses technology to measure cost and productivity through the full life cycle of enterprise level projects. Project cost management encompasses several specific functions of project management, including estimating, job controls, field data collection, scheduling, accounting, and design. So basically, cost management is the planning and controlling of project budget. What is the budget of your project? It includes processes required to ensure that the project is completed with the approved budget. Now, the cost management processes involved is resource planning, cost estimating, cost budgeting, and cost control. Now further we discuss what is resource planning. So resource planning is it involves determining what physical resources are required. Suppose there is one construction site, and at that construction site what physical resources are required, like people, labor, equipment, materials, and what quantity of each should be required for these project activities, how many labors are required, how many equipments are required, what type of equipment are required. So these all are the resources which we cover in resources planning. So, as I said in last slide, resource planning is the process of identifying the resources required to execute a project and take it to completion. For example, resources are people such as employees and contractor, equipment such as infrastructure, large construction vehicles, and other specialized equipment in limited supply. Estimation is the most difficult of the steps involved in cost management, as accuracy is the key here. Also, project managers have to consider factors such as fixed and variable cost, overheads, inflation, and the time and value of the money. The greater the deviation between estimation and actual cost, the less likely it is for a project to succeed. However, there are many estimation models to choose from. Analogous estimation is a good choice if you have a plenty of historical cost data from similar projects. Some organizations prefer mathematical approaches such as parametric modeling or program evaluation and review technique, that is PERT. We discuss in next lecture what is CPM and what is PERT. Then there is the choice between employing a top-down versus a bottom-up approach. Top-down typically works when past costing data are available. In this, project managers are usually have experiencing executing similar project and can therefore take a good call. And in bottom-up works projects in which organization do not have a lot of experience with, and therefore it makes sense to calculate a cost estimate at a task level and then roll it up to the top. So this is the resource planning. There is some outputs from the resource planning. First of all, as I said, resource planning determines the resources. Cost estimating develop an approximation of overall cost of resources needed to complete the project. Cost budgeting is allocation of the overall cost estimate to the project budget, and the cost control is controlling changes to the project budget. So the resources requirement is what type of resources and required and what quantity of each element, and in cost estimating, developing an approximation estimate of the cost of the resources need to complete the project activities. And cost estimating and pricing, it involves developing an assessment of the qualitative result, how much will it cost the performing. Pricing is a business decision, how much will the performing organization charge for the product or services. So now we talk what is cost estimating, as I discussed in last slide. So there is some inputs of cost estimating, there is some tools and techniques of cost estimating, and there is some output of cost estimating. So is inputs to cost estimating is work breakdown structure, resource requirement, resource rates, activities duration estimates, and historical information. In this we also cover scope baseline, what work and you need to do get the project objectives are mentioned in the scopes baseline. What are the project objectives? It's covered in scope baseline. So scope baseline generally consists of project scope statement, work breakdown structure, and work breakdown structure dictionary. As an ideal project manager, you should know what else work you need to do or what work you need to estimate. You have to check. So the work of project manager, and I discussed also what is the work of project manager out of the scope of work, so that you can estimate accurately, and all these information that you get from the scope baseline. And in project schedule, in this you need to know your milestone dates for the estimation purpose. You must need to know when your particular activity is going to be finished. When you study the time management, you know what are the earlier time, what are the finishing time, we discuss further. After knowing the same, you can calculate the cost incurrent for the same. Maybe for your projects something need to be purchased, that must you need to know the timing for this purchasing. For resourcing, you need to require some equipment, some machinery equipment, so you know the timing for this purchasing. In other words, you must need to know when this material really required for the project. Pricing can differ time over time, and there can be different estimation in different time. Like one time can be purchased in rupees 3000 in month of March, but when the same item you will purchase in the month of September, the pricing can fluctuate here. So you must need to know the delivery schedule of milestone dates for your project to make accurate cost estimation. So you should know at what time the cost of equipment, the cost of the material, and the cost of the other things may vary. So the tools and techniques of cost estimating is analogous estimating, top down estimating, using the actual cost of a previous similar project, as I said in earlier slide also. Top down, in top down, similar project as the basis for estimating the cost of the current project. It is less costly but less accurate. It is a rough cost estimate. In a parametric modeling, using project characteristics parameters in a mathematical model to predict project cost. So the next tools and techniques for cost estimating is bottom up estimating. As I discussed in a earlier slide, bottom up estimating use the estimate of individual work packages, which are then summarized or rolled up to determine an overall cost estimate for the project. This type of estimate is generally more accurate than other methods, since it is looking at cost from a more granular perspective. Then the second one is computerized tool. So it is used for computerized tool such as management software and a spreadsheet to assist with cost estimating. Nowadays there is various tools are available in the market. The some other one is 3-point estimates, that is originated with the PERT. This method use the three estimates to define an approximate and most likely and optimistic. In next lecture, we will done a numerical of PERT in which we calculate by throwing the approximate, activity, most likely and optimistic, three range and pessimistic. So the cost estimate is calculated by the different formulas. The third one is reserve analysis. So reserve analysis is used to determine how much contingency reserve, if any, should be allocated to the project. This funding is used to account for cost uncertainty. Then the cost of quality. COQ includes money spent during the project to avoid failures and money spent during and after the project due to failures. During cost estimation, assumptions about the COQ can be included in the project cost estimates. Then I said computerized tool or project management estimating software. So project management estimating software includes cost estimating software application, spreadsheet, simulation application, and statistical software tools. This type of software is especially useful for looking at cost estimation alternatives. Then vendor bid analysis is also in tools and techniques. In vendor analysis can be used to estimate what the project should cost by comparing the bids submitted by multiple vendors. So these are the tools and techniques of cost estimating. As you see in this figure, expert judgment, analogous, parametric, bottom up, 3-point, reserve, cost, project management, software, vendor analysis, and all. So what are the outputs from cost estimating? After the tools and techniques, there is cost estimates, supporting details, scope of work, calculation sheet, assumption made, and possible range of result. Cost management plan describes how cost variance will be managed. So these are the outputs from cost budgeting. Cost budgeting is a tool to estimate the cost or necessary efforts for projects, work packages, or activities in project management. Cost budgeting includes the estimation of cost, setting a fixed budget, and managing and controlling the actual costs by compared to the estimated ones. The idea of managing a project gets seem like a daunting task. However, provided with the right tools, any project can achieve success. When undertaking any type of project management, there must be a working set of guidelines and objectives that must be followed in order to guarantee success for that particular project. An essential element when entering into any type of project management is cost budgeting. To create an effective cost budgeting plan, a total budget for the entire project must first to be established. To achieve this, each area of project must be analyzed and given a particular cost estimate. Once that is done, the total sum of cost assessments, whether those costs are individual project or in work packages, are combined to establish a certain parameter to provide a working guideline for the budget. These guidelines are set in place so that the allotted costs are divided up among the appropriate project needs. This will ensure that the budget goals are being accurately met. The process of cost budgeting is a simple yet necessary process of any successful type of project management. So it is a allocation of cost estimates to individual work item in order to establish a cost baseline for measure project performances. Planning resource allocation and procurement, cost estimation, preparing an execution cost budget, and a cost control. So there is some input and some output for cost budgeting. As I said, input is cost estimate, work breakdown structure, project schedule, And output from cost budgeting is cost baseline, a time-phased budget that will be used to measure and monitor cost performance on the project. It is developed by summing estimated cost by period and is usually displayed in the form of some S-curve. So, cost control. Now, cost control is a tool of management executive to regulate the working of the manufacturing concern. Under the globalized economic, mere planning is not enough. Efforts are constantly made to scrutinize the results of the working. If so, out of control situation may be found out and eliminated immediately with the help of cost control. Executives can limit the cost within the planned level. So you can see in the image there is a tools of cost control, budget, cost monitoring, financial evaluation, and cost estimates. So cost control is concerned with influencing the factors which create changes to the cost baseline to ensure that changes are beneficial. Determine the cost baseline has changed, managing the actual changes when as they occur. So it includes monitoring cost performance to detect variances from plans, ensuring that all appropriate changes are recorded accurately in the cost baseline, preventing incorrect, inappropriate, and unauthorized changes from being included in the cost baseline, and informing appropriate stakeholders of authorized changes. That is the cost control. These are the inputs of cost control, tools and techniques of cost control, and outputs, that is cost baseline, performances report, change request, cost management plan, and in tools, cost change control system, performances measurement, earned value management, and all computerized tool. And outputs are revised cost estimates, budget updates, and all. So performance reports are provide information about cost performance, such as which budget have been met and which have not. It also alerts the project team to issue which may cause problem in the future. And in change request, this may occur in many forms: oral or written, direct or indirect, externally or internally initiated, and legally mandated or optional. These may require increasing the budget or may allow decreasing it. This is the change request inputs to cost control. So tools and techniques of cost control and outputs from cost control are cost change control system. It defines the procedure by which the cost baseline may be changed. It includes paperwork, tracking system, and approval levels necessary for authorizing changes. And performance measurement, it helps to assess the magnitude of any variations which do occur. And the output from cost control is revised cost estimates, budget updates, corrective actions, estimate at completion, and lesson learned. So the characteristics of cost control are delineation of centers of responsibility, that is overlapping operations and responsibilities destroy the very essence of cost control. Delegations of authority, if persons are changed with responsibility without authority, the cost control will be ineffective. Hence proper or adequate allegation of authority is necessary for proper cost control. Measurement of performance. A performance is to measured within the help of reasonable criteria. Standard costing can be measured should be participate in the setting of standard. Relevance of controllable of cost. Only few costs are controllable at different level of management. The management evaluates the performance of an employee with the help of cost incurred that the controllable. And the next one is cost reporting. Cost report, as I said, provide a basis for effective cost control. Hence, if the cost report is not prepared and submitted in time, the cost control cannot be exercised. Constant efforts. The measurement of performance, knowing functioning of manufacturing department, and analysis of cost required constant efforts. This type of constant efforts leads constant consciousness and result in cost control. And The last one, policies and general objectives. All the employees of the organization are communicated the policy and general objective. If so, cost control is very easy. So see, these are the some characteristics of the cost control. Now, the objects of cost control: to have a knowledge of the profit and loss of the project throughout the duration of project, to have a comparison between the actual project performance and the conceived in the original project plan, provides feedback data on actual project performance to future project planning. There are some steps involved in cost control also, that is planning, communication, and motivation, and appraise and reporting, and the last one is decision making, which is include in the cost control steps of cost control, which is very important. Here is one video of project cost management. As I said before, the process of estimating, budgeting and control cost, project life cycle in keeping expenditure within the approved budget. It is the project cost management. The project cost management process is resource planning, cost estimating, cost budgeting and cost control. In resource planning, determine the policies, procedures. In cost estimating, developing an approximation or estimate. In cost budgeting, controlling changes to the project budget, and in cost control, allocating the overall cost control. So the basic principles of cost management is profits and profit margins. Profits are revenues minus expenditures, and profit margins is the ratio of revenues to profits. So these are the basic principles of cost management. The third one is life cycle costing, that consider the total cost of ownership or development plus support cost for a project. And the fourth one is cash flow analysis. It determines the estimated annual cost and benefits for a project and the result for annual cash flow. So these are the four. Type of cost and benefits are tangible cost or benefits. It is the cost or benefits an organization can measure in dollars. And intangible cost or benefits, it is the costs or benefits that are difficult to measure in monetary terms. Direct cost, the cost that directly related to producing the products and services of the projects. Indirect cost, costs that are not directly related to the product. And the sunk cost, money that has been spent must not include sunk cost when decide a project to invest in or continue. The software to assist in cost management is spreadsheets, tool for resource planning, cost estimating, cost budgeting and cost control. Project management has many cost related features, and portfolio management to help to reduce the cost. These are the some references of this lecture. This is your assignment question. You have to submit it before the deadline. These are three questions. One is objective and two is descriptive. What is cost management? Explain the process of cost management. Discuss at least two methods the controller can be used to reduce cost. Discuss the pros and cons of each, and which of the following is a possible limitation in cost estimation. A. It is difficult to obtain data on relevant cost from accounting reports that record historical data. And B. It is difficult to get qualified people who can obtain data on cost and can interpret the data. And C. Critics argue that the method used for estimating cost is outdated and does not provide accurate cost estimate. And D. Critics argue that cost estimate do not help managers make efficient decisions. So these three questions. So in this lecture we have discuss what is cost management, what is project management, what are the process of cost management, and the process in what are the inputs, what are the tools and techniques, and what are the outputs of cost management. Thank you.